This is the Sourced Podcast, where cold mornings, screaming bull elk, and bent rods turn into legends told. Hosted by Nate Zielinski and brought to you by Jiffy Ice Fishing, we go beyond tags and trophies, into the grind, the heartbreak, and the moments that keep us coming back for more. If it bugles, if it bites, if it lives wild, it's Sourced. Lock in.
Welcome to the Source Podcast. I'm your host, Nate Zielinski. This podcast and every podcast is officially brought to you by Jiffy Ice Fishing. Huge thanks to Jiffy for all that you do. Today's a big day for everybody watching, listening. I've got an amazing friend, an awesome guest, like to the world, on today. And more importantly, at the very beginning of the podcast, you guys have all watched this. Our audio wasn't great. Our video wasn't great. And we failed like a million times trying to have this guest on here because I wanted to go big right from the beginning, and it failed. But today it's going to work. So without further ado, Miss Maggie Reese. How are we doing, Maggie?
We are doing awesome. I should probably take credit. It was my lack of technology and my skills that may have had something to do with us not being able to podcast earlier. But it doesn't matter. I'm still going to blame you.
Like, we're here, right? We're here. We're doing it, and it's going to work. Thank you so much for being on. I'll tell you what, this is exciting for me. Everything that I have questions about, I want to talk to you about is awesome, so I'm excited about that. But, like, just the introduction, right? I always joke about this, that you're one of the most intimidating people that I know, right?
That's right.
It's one of those deals. So we've done a lot of work together in the past, and, like, I only have a couple things going for me that I really thrive on, right? I'm super happy and energetic, and I'm loud. And I usually can own the room with my volume and my energy, and you really kind of take that from me, and I don't like it.
I think, you know what? I think you must kind of trigger my competitive side in some way, because the more you ramp up, the more that I ramp up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take this guy out.
I know it. So it's like I got one shot in a room, and you take it from me. But
I know.
Today we're like teammates. It's like we're partners in it, so it's great.
Well, speak for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Maggie. So to jump right into it, right? Like, I have papers and papers and papers of your accomplishments, right? Like, you've done a lot. At the kind of big focus point, you are a multi-gun shooter, right? Like,
Yes.
you are a firearm professional. What would your business card say? Like, what's your title?
You know what? That's always kind of a weird thing, and I know that some people, like in my industry, they kind of balk at the title, like, you know, professional shooter. Like, what exactly does that mean?
That's what what do you call yourself?
I know, but I think that's what I would put on my business card. I mean, I have about 12 business cards, and they all say something different. But if I was to try and simplify, I don't have a day job other than shooting guns. So, you know, my whole life, my whole career, everything that I do professionally revolves around firearms. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess professional, you know, shooter is kind of where it's at.
I love it. So, okay, so the podcast, right? We talk fishing, we talk hunting, we've talked like life, right? We had a person on here, we're talking about like energy and like positive attitudes. So we talk about everything, but we've had obviously a huge following of hunters and anglers. So I do want to talk a lot about shooting in general, right? And this is like for our audience, when in reality, a lot of it's for me. Because I think at the end of the day, we joke about this, and I've talked to a lot of people in the industry. Everybody sees my involvement in the firearm world, the optic world, and they don't put me at your level, but they like call me a professional shooter. And in reality, I am a hunter. I have nothing to do with like shooting. And people will like laugh when I say that, but like if we went to the range together, it would be very clear, right? So I'm a hunter, not a shooter. I am trying to be a better shooter. So I have a lot of questions about shooting. I want to talk about that, but you shoot, you multi-gun shoot, you do a lot of hunting. You've been on way cooler hunts than even myself. I mean, last time we talked, you were like, Nate, I need to take your order on a firearm because I need it to go to Africa versus coming, to here. And I'm like, Africa? Like, come on. So you've done it all. So you are coming as a voice of experience. We're excited about that. But first and foremost, the title, multi-gun shooter, professional shooter. What do you shoot? Like, walk us through a competition or what you are professional at?
So I really tried to do it all throughout my career. I kind of started at the beginning. I started shooting in 2007. It was really just a way for me to spend time with my dad and for us to share a hobby and kind of enjoy the weekend together. And so I started out shooting like bowling pin matches and man versus man steel matches and really just kind of fun stuff. And then I got to a point in my career where I was like, you know what? I want to see if there are bigger matches out there and I want to travel and shoot. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to take a year off of my life. This is so weird when I look back and think about it. But I was like, I'm going to take a year off and I'm just going to travel and I'm going to shoot some major matches and I'm going to discover myself and figure out who I am as a person and what do I want to do for the rest of my life. And so I did that. And so I went to a world championship for Steel Challenge. I then went to some USPSA matches, some 3-gun matches. I kind of just went anywhere and everywhere that I could, and I met some really cool people along the way. And at the end of that year, I had, for whatever reason, probably because, to be quite honest, there weren't a lot of women doing what I was doing, so that got me some attention. And with that attention, then I was able to get some sponsorships, and I was able, companies approached me and said, we want you to use our products, and I took their products, and then I got on TV, and then I was able to promote them, and I somewhere along the way turned it into what I now call a profession, but it wasn't what I started out wanting to do. But to the long-winded way of answering your question is that I shoot it all. I shoot pistols, rifles, shotguns. I'll shoot bullseye matches, speed matches. I'll shoot...
so freaking awesome.
just pretty much anything that I can, because I just wanted to be outdoors, on the range, shooting, having fun, traveling. So any avenue that I can find that allows me to do all of those things, I'm like, dude, I'll do it. I can sit here and say that I'm not the best. I'm certainly not the best at a lot of things, but...
You don't say no to them, you jump in.
Yes, that's what I realized along the way, that part of what is... The philosophy for me behind winning, and this is how I've gotten some of my national championships, but the philosophy is, 1, you have to show up, and 2, you have to finish.
Yep.
And if you can tackle both of those obstacles and you can find a way to complete the match, you will find success in whatever format appeals to you, but you will find success along the way if you can just show up and finish.
I mean, that's it. And I think it's so awesome that you do that, because like when you talk about the categories of like professional shooting, you're already down to like the most fraction of a percent of people that ever get to that level. And then you throw in the multi-gun thing, like it is so freaking hard to be at a even semi-competitive level with shotgun, pistol, rifle. And then like you jump into all of them, which nobody really does because they're so fearful of not being the best or not highlighting their brands, whatever the case may be. And that's where you are literally like in Maggie's category. Like, it's not a category of your own. It's like you. That's it. Because so few people do it. And that's what I love about it. So it's huge. And I think more importantly, when you take your professional or professionalism in your kind of category, and then you start hunting, right? Like, you are at such a different level, because when you start shooting time matches and speed, and then you start shooting pistol, rifle, shotgun, like, right, you get behind a firearm and you are at a comfort level that somebody like myself will never know. You know what I mean? And that's where I think it's so cool. But you take that and you're one of very few. Like, I talk to a lot of professional shooters that don't hunt. They're like, oh yeah, I just shoot this, but I would never take it into the field. And that's why I think it's so cool that you've crossed over to kind of all of those categories and you nail it.
Well, it is interesting. We can talk about this on this podcast, but there are people in the firearms industry that don't like hunting.
Oh, absolutely, like a lot of them.
So they're totally against it.
Yeah.
And good for everybody and having the opinions that they want to have in life. But for me, something that's kind of interesting and maybe a little bit different when I go out hunting is that I get to pull the trigger as often as I want.
Yeah.
Like, I get to go to the range every single day if I want to and pull the trigger as often and as much as I want. So when I go hunting, the experience for me is about being outdoors, about being quiet, about sitting back in reflection and thinking about all of the beauty that I'm surrounded by. and just looking for the perfect opportunity to make that impact.
Yeah.
And if that perfect opportunity doesn't come, then I am totally fine to go home having never pulled the trigger, because I can do that at home.
Yeah.
And I think that that's probably true for a lot of people.
You're such a better person than me.
Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe you just want to pull the trigger. But you know what? We all find what matters to us in life. So I've gotten to go some amazing places and do some really cool hunts. And for me, it was really just about being there. And then the experience of pulling the trigger and harvesting an animal was its own separate thing. But that wasn't really the motivation to get me there in the first place. But you know what? But I do have a very, very nice rifle that has your name on it.
Exactly. Stole from me. No, that's awesome. I love it. So, okay, we're going to kind of tie it all together as we talk about all these rounds. But when we talk shooting, right, you talk about going to the range, shooting whatever you want. How many rounds would you shoot in like a very busy day in any of the categories? So I just want people to know how serious you are.
So I'm at a different point in my career. I'm not trying to compete at the level that I used to compete.
Okay.
I'm frankly getting a little bit older. Not that I still don't consider myself competitive.
Does anybody know how old you really are?
No, it's a hot topic.
I should have thrown that out there.
Okay. But looking back at the beginning of my career when I was first starting out and I was really trying to make a push in Steel Challenge and USPSA and 3-gun, I would shoot a minimum of 1,000 rounds a day.
1,000 rounds a day.
Yeah,
crazy.
Just to kind of start out and warm up. And if I was on a roll, especially something like Steel Challenge, which is super fast, high speed, it is just, you are moving the gun as fast as you can. You're not physically moving, but you are transitioning fast. And it's easy to just stand there and go through a lot of rounds.
Yeah.
And you have to have that. You have to have that consistency and that muscle memory and that training time and you have to be able to put it all out. So
it's just crazy, because I mean, there's people that haven't shot 1,000 rounds in their life, let alone in a day. So I love that. Okay, right, the firearm world, right? So we have handguns, we have shotgun, we have rifle. Let's start with the rifle, right? So. Yeah. In your perspective, you had to coach me, knowing that I'm not great. Mm-hmm. In an elevator speech, what advice would you give somebody becoming a better shooter? Is it body position? Is it trigger squeeze? Is it mindset? Is it just going through the walk me through it? I just need to know. So I guess the concept is here, right? My wife is a great shooter. My kids are great shooters. My kids hosted their first seminar this year, and they're 12 years old. They're on stage. My daughter's holding this giant deer, and somebody in the audience was like, "Tell me about shooting a rifle. What goes through your head?" And I was like, "Oh no!" And both my kids popped off a little seminar about shooting, and I'm like, well, I wouldn't have an answer to that. So it's really been in my head, and I was like, what would Maggie do? So that's what I want to know.
Well, regardless of the platform, whether it's rifle, pistol, or shotgun, every time I walk up to the line, I start from the bottom and work my way up to the top in terms of thinking through what I need to do to accomplish the shot that I want to shot. So feet are shoulder width apart, leaning forward, weight on the balls of my feet, almost as if I'm about to throw a punch. I want to have an aggressive stance and be pushing towards the firearm. I work my way up. I think about my shoulder position, my arms, holding the firearm, not super tense, having some dexterity, especially in my strong hand so that I can manipulate the trigger. I want that trigger to go straight back to the rear. I want it to pull it towards me. I want my support hand to be a little bit more engaged, my support hand to be more engaged than my strong hand. And then I work up, my eye line, my eyesight, acquiring the target, seeing the sights through the target. All of these things, it's like a mental rotation that's constantly going through. And at any given time, something can totally go off the rails. And when that does, then I start back from the beginning.
Okay.
Shoulder width apart, aggressive stance, leaning forward, weight on the balls of my feet, aggressively gripping the gun, being able to manipulate that trigger all the way through, back, and I just cycle through and cycle through and cycle through. But a lot of what makes you a great shooter is consistency and feeling confident with your equipment. So before anything else, before you really can work on yourself, you have to be familiar with the firearm that you're shooting. You have to feel comfortable shooting the firearm. You have to make sure that it's not too big of a caliber or it's not too aggressive of a platform for you. You have to feel like you can be in charge of that weapon system. And if you're not confident behind the firearm, then kind of everything else goes out the window. So a lot of that confidence just comes from repetition and time and practice and just getting out to the range. And if you can't get out to the range, then you can always dry fire at home. So a lot of people don't have access and don't have time. They don't have the round count. They don't have the ammo. They don't have a lot of things that you know, somebody like myself has access to. But if you already have that firearm, then you can put your hands on that firearm every single day and you can dry fire it at home every single day. And you can build on your confidence with that platform every single day.
Yep. And I think that's a huge part of it. And, you know, especially on the hunting realm side of things where, you know, they're shooting large caliber rifles. Maybe it's expensive for ammo. Maybe it's availability at the range, busy lifestyle. So I think a lot of the people, especially watching this podcast, are like, hey, shooting that often is not a thing for me. But the dry fire thing to me is one that I don't think near enough people do. And I always talk to people and I say, you need to have the realistic mindset when you dry fire what happened, right? So when I do my dry fire test, whether I'm in my backyard or basement, whatever, and I squeeze, I'm literally watching my target, watching my sight, and you know when it moves, right? You know when you got it and you know when you don't. And you have to have that realistic mindset of like, yeah, I would have missed, you know, or, oh, I pulled, or, you know, whatever the case may be. But if you can have that, you know, everybody wants to be like, oh, no, I would have got it. But, you know, in reality, but if you can get to the concept of dry firing even a handful of times a day, it's going to keep up that muscle memory, that sequence, the everything that takes place in the field. And if it becomes second nature, whether it's a target or an animal, it just becomes more fluid and that, you know, therefore more successful.
I always equate it back to a car or to a vehicle, your truck, your van, your car, whatever it is. Most people are driving their vehicle every single day. They're going to work, they're going to the grocery store, they're just going out about town. Every single day they're behind the wheel. And because of that experience of doing it every single day, you don't have to consciously think through anymore. I'm putting the key in the ignition, I'm turning it, I'm putting my foot on the brake, I'm grabbing the steering wheel. All that stuff just becomes automatic to you because you've had so much repetition behind it. And so I imagine most people feel very confident when they're driving because of the amount of time that they have behind the wheel. And also due to the fact that they picked a vehicle that works for them, whether it was a car, a truck, a van, whatever it is. So when you get your gun, pick something that works for you, that is, you know, the style, the platform, the caliber that you want, and then do the same thing. Spend every single day, because if you're going hunting, if you're going to competition, or if you're relying on that firearm for self-defense or personal protection, you don't want to think through the mechanics anymore. I do it in competition because I have that mental prep time to get ready before I walk up to the line. But you know what? If you're taken by surprise, or if you have the most perfect deer in front of you, or something else is happening, you want to be able to just rely on that muscle memory and that confidence and that instinctual knowledge of how everything works, and then just pull the trigger.
I think that's the greatest thing thinking about a car, because like we all know it, right? You get into your vehicle, everything is easy. And I mean, honestly, like so seamless, you could even get you in trouble, but it's just, you're so comfortable. Everything flows. You get into a rental car, and for that first 20 minutes, that first hour, you're like, mirror's not set. This isn't set, right? And that's like length of pull, trigger, like it's all those same exact things. So I love that you kind of made that reference, because it's so the truth, right? If you're not extremely comfortable on all aspects of it, right? And it's from adjustments to trigger to, you know, sight height and everything, you're just not going to shoot well.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Every time.
All right. Squeezing the trigger of a rifle. Walk me through that. Like, following through, how much pressure, like where are you dead on your target? Do you circle your target first? Like I want to know, just walk me through the actual final second.
Well, you have to, first of all, you have to understand a couple external factors. You need to know what is the level of accuracy that's required behind the shot.
Okay.
So for me in competition, if I'm shooting a big target and I just have to put 2 shots anywhere on that target, trust me, I'm pulling the trigger, I'm smashing that trigger. I'm not trying to make a perfect hold.
Okay.
Very, very different concept between that and then taking a shot, on an animal where you want a level of precision and accuracy because you can't afford to have a miss. You can't afford for yourself and you can't afford for that animal to have a miss. So things that you have to think about in advance is the level of accuracy that's required for the shot, the distance that the shot is at, what kind of rifle that you have, what kind of trigger do you have? Do you have a single stage trigger, a double stage trigger? So there are a lot of kind of variables that are going to make that that shot different in different circumstances. But the most important thing, I think, is one, if you have an opportunity to dry fire with that rifle beforehand and feel that trigger and know, is that a 3-pound trigger, a 5-pound trigger, a 1-pound trigger? How much pressure do I need? When does it break? And make sure that you are doing it consistently every single time, pulling straight back towards you consistently every single time. But you need to know a lot of different things first.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. Breathing. Walk me through the breathing concept. I guess here's the thing. You type in like ChatGPT, Google, like perfect shot. Everybody's going to have a different thing, right? Like you shoot as you breathe in, breathe out, you're whatever, right? There's a million different scenarios of what people would say. And that's really so breathing. Are you so comfortable you can shoot in any scenario? Are you trying to control your breath? Are you trying to time it appropriately?
Not in my sport, to be honest, because my sport is very physical. There's a lot of movement. 3-gun, I'm usually shooting an AR-15 and .223 caliber, and we're running. It's running and gunning. That's what we call it. So you don't have the opportunity to try and control your breath because you're just wasting time. And the level of accuracy required in that style of competition is not that great. So you're just pulling the trigger and moving on. Now in a hunting situation, that's going to be a little bit different, because again, the level of precision that you want, and definitely I'm going to probably not think about my breath work that's not going to be my first thought. I'm going to want to be in a comfortable position. I'm going to want to feel like I can hold the rifle steady or rest the rifle steady. So there's other things that I'm going to do first that are maybe going to mitigate the necessity of having a controlled breath. But then later on, then that does come into play. And honestly, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know in that moment if I'm in a hunting scenario, I'm probably thinking about so many other things that I'm not as concentrated on my breath. You need to interview like a precision rifle shooter to teach us.
Yeah, so I have a buddy who was military sniper quality, and same thing, and he very much has a breathing cycle, right? My wife has a breathing cycle. She lets the trigger break at the exact moment every single time, right? And I can't say anything because she's so accurate. I couldn't tell you what my breath is doing, right? Like crosshairs are where I want them, and I'm like you. I am doing my best not to mash the trigger, but if those crosshairs are on there, I'm like, get that bullet out of this barrel. Why I'm in this scenario? So I definitely don't, but I think there's something to be said for it. That's what I love to hear, and I think the more you shoot and the more you have confidence in your ability, the more I don't worry about hardly any of that stuff because it comes second nature to how I'm squeezing the trigger, and I'm so focused on the animal and the wind and more of those type things than I am what's actually happening right there. But I think as a new shooter, new hunter, or even somebody who doesn't pull the trigger as much, I think it can calm your nerves to have a sequence. So I kind of go both ways on it. So I think if you're a person that you need that to kind of check off, calm you down, it like going through a little step can help. But I agree with you that for me personally, I definitely don't have a sequence. I just shoot.
It's interesting. It's interesting to hear you talk about that because I definitely have that sequence in competition.
Yeah.
But and we just talked about it. But I also have that time frame to know exactly the scenario that I'm going to get myself in, and then I prep myself for that scenario. But in a hunting environment, I mean, there's so many different variables and things are happening so quickly that really I just want to feel like I've got that hold on that rifle. And like you, I see the crosshairs, and I'm like, I don't have any other time to figure
exactly.
send it. Send it. Like when it's good, it's good.
Yep. Oh, that's 100%. Like every second after this, it could go wrong. So get it down there while we can. Okay, jumping into the shotgun, right? So. More a story for me, and then I want to get your take on how we shoot a shotgun more accurately, right? Trigger's totally different. Everything about it's different. No matter what we're shooting out of a shotgun, right? So I was in a cast and blast. So we had to fish for 4 hours. We had to shoot. I was like, I could win the thing on the fishing side, so I'm good. And I did good, but I didn't do as well as I thought. So now I'm like, I'm going to have to actually shoot a little bit. There were some Olympic level shooters at this thing. So I'm got paired with one of them in my group, and I have to outshoot him, and I'm like, holy cow. So we walk up to it's a sporting clay thing. So we're, emulating, birds as we're shooting. So we pull up and he's got ammo for this different, set. Then he's changing out his tubes for this set. And I'm like, dude, I got one gun, one shell, and one tube. I'm already feeling not very confident going against this. And, we shoot, and he shoots a 10 out of 10. I shoot 7. So I held my own enough for me. I thought I shot amazing, but not near him. The next one, he gave me some advice. I didn't listen to it, and he could tell I didn't listen to it. So then he shot the next 10 from the hip. Mm-hmm. So now I'm like, well, clearly I need to pay attention to this guy because he's at that level. So now I start listening, we start interacting, and we're talking. It's pretty cool. So we go pull a test clay at the next round. And he's like, all right, man, if you can keep your gun moving, he's talking to me about, follow through, yada, yada. And he goes, I really want you to hold at the 7 o'clock on that clay. And I literally am like, what? He goes, yeah, if it was a clock, aim for 7 as you're following through. He goes, and you're going to do well. And I'm like, dude, it's a shotgun. I'm shooting a short barrel. I'm throwing a 4-foot freaking pattern at this particular clay. I probably have such openings in my pattern, a clay could sneak through it. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about 7 o'clock? But it made me realize that my entire concept of shotgun shooting and point and shoot, even though it's an instinctive style of shooting, there's more to it. So I would love your take on the shotgunning concept of life.
So I think the fact that people say it's an instinctive style of shooting is a load of crap.
See, that's where he told me, and I'm like, come on, dude.
I hear that all the time. And I'm like, no. So I imagine that you and I are the same in the sense that we both are either rifle shooters or pistol shooters. And that is almost incompatible with shotgun because with a rifle, with a pistol, you stop that barrel. Yep. You stop that barrel, you hold the crosshairs, you hold the sights, you have a specific acceptable range for the target, and that gun stops. But with the shotgun, like you said, you're shooting through. That barrel is always moving. And I go out and I just started shooting some trap and skeet and stuff with friends for the sole purpose of just appreciating the fact that I suck at it. And just humbling myself. But I do the same thing. I see the bird, I get the gun up, and then I line up what seems to me like the perfect shot in my head, and I stop the barrel, and I pull the trigger, and that bird is still sailing away, and I'm like, that's weird, I missed it again.
Yep.
But to go backwards, I shot a lot of 3-gun in my career, pistol, rifle, shotgun. You're transitioning between the different guns. You have to have a certain level of proficiency with all of the guns. But for me, I try to dump that shotgun as soon as I could. And anytime I could get rid of the shotgun and pick up a pistol, I would do that. And I would rather shoot clay birds with my pistol than shoot it with a shotgun, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but my brain is geared towards lining everything up and making it perfect and pulling the trigger and not just willy-nilly shooting. I think people are kind of one or the other. They're either really good at shotgun and maybe not so great at pistol and rifle, or the other way around. And I am not a shotgun shooter. I'm trying, but I am,
I mean, that's how I am. It's exactly that. It's so hard. And this guy's like, aim here. And I'm like, dude, what do you mean aim here? Like, my clay is this big. I'm going to put it in the middle. And he's like, well, keep putting it in the middle and I'll just keep kicking your butt. And like, there's so much to all of it. And they all have their different styles. And unfortunately, like exactly what you said, the better you are at one, oftentimes the worse you are at the other because they're just not the same.
I actually, back in the olden days, I actually put a pair of sights on my shotgun, on my tactical shotgun that I was shooting in competition because I just couldn't get over the concept of like, you just put it out there and pull the trigger. And I'm like, no, I need to see something. I cannot transition from pistol and rifle with sights to picking up something that doesn't have sights on it. So I actually put little iron sights on my shotgun at the time. Now I've finally gotten past that because I'm just...
Training wheels are off. I love it.
Yeah, the training wheels are off, and I'm all about point shooting because I've gotten a little bit lazy.
Yeah.
Like if it's towards the center, then I'm good enough to pull the trigger. So I'm pretty good at the point shooting now. But there was a while where I just couldn't get behind the concept of like the gun is always moving, and just when it feels right, you pull the trigger. What a load of crap.
I love it. I love it. All right. So as we transition a little bit more from the shooting to the hunting, I want to know from you, just to start off, kind of talking a little hunts, what is your most memorable hunt? Like it could be even a disaster, but what's your most memorable?
Yeah. So a little bit bougie, but the majority of my hunts, almost all of my hunts have been in Africa.
Okay.
So I'm pretty fortunate to get to see an incredibly beautiful part of the world. So I've hunted in South Africa and Namibia and traveled all around in that area, Botswana and Zimbabwe, and kind of gotten to see a bunch of really, really cool stuff. Trying to think of some of my favorite hunts. I don't like to pick one.
It's got to be everything in Africa wants to eat you, and you travel all around the freaking thing.
Yes, and had that experience of like being behind a bush and seeing lions, and walking back to my car or the safari truck and seeing elephants, and then hearing somebody call out like snake, and you're like, okay, this is a little bit
real
different scenario. Yeah, a little bit different than America. But I had a really, really cool zebra hunt. And I think that the thing that was really fun for me with the zebra hunt is maybe the expectations were set like a little bit low for me.
Okay.
Just the people we were with, the guides that we're with, are like, okay, who's this chick?
Yeah.
And we were trying to explain to them that we comfortable taking, maybe a little bit longer shot than most people would be comfortable taking, just because of our background. And our guides were like, yeah, okay, sure. We'll get you as close as we can, which is, not bad at all. You want to ensure success, but we're still trying to impress upon them, like, I can shoot wherever you want me to shoot. If you just tell me, I will make that shot happen. And so we sat there and identified, the animal that we wanted, the one that I was going to take. And I'm talking back and forth with my guide, and my husband's there at the time. And he's saying, okay, I want you to shoot at the triangle. And I'm like, okay, the black or the white. And the guide's like, just like good enough. And I'm like, no, I'm going to put that shot where you tell me to put that shot. And so we talked through it, and he gave me a precise location for that shot. And then sure enough, when we went and checked on the animal afterwards, it was exactly where he had told me to put that shot. And
that's awesome.
And it was just kind of fun, because it's nice when, you have that level of confidence and you have that level of ability, and you can show off to people and say, hey, no, I came here to do something, and I came here to do it right. So,
that's awesome.
It was a cool hunt.
That is a cool hunt. I love that. So everybody, it's just funny, just a little side note. It's crazy how the zebra thing, a lot of times as Americans, like, you're going out there, you're shooting a horse, and like, one of the sketchiest animals in Africa, like, scared of their own shadow. Like, it's one of the harder hunts out there. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, people get really mad. I definitely have to, think about the environment that I'm in when I talk about different, hunting scenarios. I have to think about the audience, and I have to remind people, you know what? Stop being such an American. Like
That's exactly it.
different countries have different cultures and different levels of what is acceptable and different ways to take care of the land, to harvest the animals, to give back, to build up their economy, to support the community. Like, you have to get outside of your very myopic way of thinking and understand that there's a whole world out there, and sometimes people do things differently.
Yep.
And as long as you're doing it in alignment with what's acceptable in that environment, with that culture and that country and their laws and everything else, then that's okay.
Yep.
That's okay.
I love it. Anything sketchy in Africa? Any weird snakes? What's the scariest part of hunting Africa?
Like I said, being behind a bush in a delicate situation and then seeing lions, that was kind of like, wow, they're 50 yards away and they're looking at me. And that was definitely intimidating. Yeah. That was definitely intimidating. We did rustle up some elephants, like I said, at 1.2, and that was a little bit, you really have to respect the land and respect the environment that you're with, and have people that you trust. That's the most important thing, is to have a guide that you trust and that's going to take you through these different scenarios, because, we're American. We don't have elephants walking down the street.
Exactly. It's crazy because I have not hunted Africa, but like the lions, all the big scary critters, like the snakes and the spiders and the that would terrify me way worse. Like, I would go take my odds and go pet a leopard before, like, I would be scared to death to like fall asleep in my tent. Like, that's where but I'm like scared to death of spiders and snakes here, right? Like, I'm still
me too.
Yeah, like, that's just not my thing.
So me too. Like, I have to tell you, because I am deathly afraid of spiders. I'm deathly afraid of bugs. People make fun of me all the time. They're like, that little centimeter fly landed on your face and you freaked out, but you'll go to Africa with lions. And I'm like, yes, but I can see the lion and it doesn't take me by surprise.
Exactly.
Whereas the spiders and the bugs and everything
creepy
freak
stuff
me out. And they were teasing me at one point. One of my guides was teasing me because we went through this kind of like foresty, wooded area. There were a ton of trees, and there were, I think they called them banana spiders. But they were like this big and yellow, and they had these huge webs. And so I found a stick, and I was like Harry Potter going through like trying to get all these webs down before I could walk through, because it was just freaking me out so badly. And then at one point, my guide went one way around a tree, and I just kind of had like a mental lapse, and I thought, oh, it's better to go this way. And so then I went the other way around the tree and was like smack dab with like 5 spiders in my face and this big, huge web. And it was probably like the worst thing that's ever happened in my life. It was just awful. The bugs are next level.
Like, I couldn't even handle it. It's so funny. I quit turkey hunting in Kansas. I have, like, I love taking like my kids and new people, turkey hunting, and I have like the most epic opportunity in Kansas, and I literally won't go because of the ticks. Like, I'm just like, I don't like things that are seeking me out to be creepy. So I totally hear it. Like literally, that's the only reason I haven't gone to Africa. I get a lot of opportunities, right? In our world, we get opportunities to go to a lot of cool places, and all the little creepy crawly stuff there just kind of gets to me.
Well, it's still worth it. You're going to have to, one day, you're going to have to suck it up and do it.
You have to come like babysit me over there.
I know, and I will, because I love it so much, and it has such like wonderful memories for me, and it is just so beautiful and so relaxing, and it gives you just such a different appreciation for how other people do things. So any chance I have to go back to Africa, it is 100% worth it. And I've gone there and I've done photo safaris and I've done all sorts of stuff, because just the process of being there and seeing the animals and being able to experience it is pretty cool.
That's awesome. I love it. All right. So back to kind of the multi-gun shooting type thing, what is your, like, maybe not highlight, what's your like career favorite thing that you've done, accomplishment. What's your favorite accomplishment? We'll call it that.
So most of my national championships, they've been in 3-gun. And so, and I'm pretty proud of that because I didn't have the skill set to become the best with any one firearm. A lot of my contemporaries, a lot of my colleagues, they're just so incredible and they've really mastered one platform. And I will just never be at their level. I just don't have that level of talent or maybe dedication or a whole host of other things. And so I see people around me and I just think, wow, they are amazing with the rifle, or they are amazing with the pistol, or they are amazing with that gun. But what I was able to do in my career and my life was be able to just become proficient at enough things and put that all together.
I feel like you're downplaying yourself right now.
I have so much respect for what I've seen other people do, and it's important in life to understand what you're good at and what you're not good at, and understand your limitations. And I saw a path for me to success with 3-gun and saying, okay, not everybody can go out there and be good enough with all 3 platforms. And not everybody can go out there and do something that's that physically demanding. And not everybody is willing to go out there and not just spend 1,000 rounds behind the pistol at their daily practice, but then transition and do 1,000 rounds behind the rifle and then do 200 rounds behind the shotgun. So it took a different approach for me to find that kind of success with 3-gun, but I'm pretty proud of myself for finding a path to success in the way that I did.
Okay. Yeah. I love it. That's awesome. But again, I think you're downplaying. You should just be a rock star. Be like, I own this. So, okay. I love it. Another question that I ask everybody on the podcast, are you superstitious? Going into a competition, going into a hunt. I want to know Maggie's superstitions.
No, I'm not. Actually, it's when I first started shooting, I had certain rings on my finger, and I realized that I always played with them and I always rotated them one way or the other, and it was probably a symptom of just my nerves at the time, that I had all these little quirks and things like that. But now I don't really think that I'm superstitious at all. I don't have I got to wear the same socks every time kind of thing. No. It's like either I put the time in and I put the work in, or I didn't, and that just comes down to me.
I love it. That's good. It's funny. We had a guest earlier today that we were talking to, and he's like, "No, I'm not superstitious." And then he started talking about his routine, and I'm like, "Dude, you are out of hand." He's like, "Well, I do this. Well, I do that." It's pretty fun. But no, I didn't strike you as a superstitious person, so I'm glad I asked. All right, so final question of the podcast that I have to know: if you're going to give advice to any shooter of any platform in a small speech, how do you become a better shooter from where you're at? Somebody that has never hunted before, which we have a ton that listen to this podcast, to people that are hardcore shooter or hunter. How do you go to the next level? Not like starting competition, just shooting more accurately in your mind.
It all comes down to you. There's nothing superstitious for me. There's no magic trick or saying. It just comes down to, what are you willing to do? Are you willing to put the time in? Are you willing to make sacrifices? Do you want this enough that you're going to take away from one aspect of your life and put it into this aspect of your life? And so it just comes down to, we all make choices in life. We all make sacrifices in life. We all build certain things up. But in the process of building certain things up, we have to tear other things down. So within yourself what level of success you are capable of. And if you put that into yourself, you will see the results on the other side, but only you can make that determination. At the end of the day, you can strip away the guns, the gear, the equipment, all the external factors, and put it on yourself of what is the level of success that you want behind the gun, and what is the level of success that you want in life. It is just up to you.
We're on the same path, just going along in life. Work harder.
Yeah, it's kind of boring.
No, I love it. I think that's a big part of it. So, all right, I lied too. That wasn't really our last question. Last question: what is next? What is Maggie Reese? What do you want to do when you grow up?
I know. I'm still deciding. It's so funny.
I've asked this before, I know, because I'm there with you.
one of the reasons that we're friends is because I always try to hang out with all the hunters. And I'm like, okay, like I did like the competition thing. Like I did that, but like, how do I get paid to hunt? And so I just keep like following along and like showing up and hanging out with you guys at the conventions. And I'm like, I want to do what you do. I want to have a career switch. Like Nate, like I'm going to send you to a 3-gun match. You're going to have a badass time, but I want to go on one of your hunts. And so I'm just looking to kind of, anything I can do that gets me outside, that gets me outdoors. I went fishing, recently. I haven't gotten to do a lot of fishing. I'm a really bad fisherman.
Did you catch a fish?
Yes, beginner's luck. And I have to tell you the story. It's kind of funny. I went with a girlfriend of mine and we were fishing in the bay in Northern California. And, you're supposed to like bait your own hook or something. And I told her in advance, like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not touching like a slimy fish, And so we got on the boat though. And pretty quickly, all the guides on the boat were like, you're going to have to learn how to bait your own hook. Like, we can't do this for you all day long. So I spent like the first 3 or 4 hours screaming every time I had to touch a fish. I dropped 75% of them and bashed their little heads in, so they were unusable. Yeah. I was like the total chick, obnoxious female. Like, these guys were not impressed with me at all. And I was thinking the whole time, I was like, man, they would just have no idea what I do for a living.
Exactly.
Like, they would not believe me at all. But towards the end, I worked through it, and I got to the point where I could grab those. What are they, like sardines? I don't even know. I don't know. But I got to the point where I was like, I can do this. I can hook my own, fish, and I can throw it out there, and I can reel it in. So, sometimes you just have to get outside of your comfort zone to be able to experience, kind of some bigger and better and cooler things.
I like it. That should be the next career path. Maggie Reese, the professional angler.
Yes.
Yep. That's it. Awesome.
And then I'll hire somebody. I'll be so successful that I'll hire somebody to like hook
your sardines and your anchovies on.
Yeah.
I love it. Awesome, Maggie. I cannot thank you enough for coming on today. In all regards, right? Output on life, fishing, hunting, and everything that we are passionate about in our worlds. And I tell you what, I think a hunt between you and I, maybe we'll tie a fishing trip. I think that needs to happen sooner than later, for sure. More so just so I can steal my rifle back from you.
I was going to say, I'll bring it. I'll let you see it. I'll let you take a picture of it, and then I'll take it home with me.
Take it home. Awesome. Guys, everybody, this is Miss Maggie Reese. Maggie, where do people follow you? Give us some insight if we want to follow your career and see what you're up to.
Instagram, Facebook, probably the best places, Maggie Reese or Maggie Reese Shooting, and then I post updates when I have them.
Perfect. Awesome. We will do that. Maggie, thank you so much for coming on with me today. Awesome. All right, guys, this is the Source Podcast, officially brought to you by Jiffy Ice Fishing. I'm your host, Nate Zielinski. Again, for this episode and all episodes, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.